So we all agree we can just give Fede Alvarez the Hollywood keys to just about any remake he wants to do, right? Any objections? Didn't think so. So much like a lot of people, I was really looking forward to Alien Romulus because Fede Alvarez is the one behind it, and I really like his Evil Dead 2013 remake. And I think he managed to capture the exact same thing he did with that film with the Alien franchise, because he managed to pay homage to the previous films while also making a title that stands alone and it's completely unique in its own regard. And I'm someone who just joined the Alien franchise. For reference, I really liked the first film, loved the second film, and I fucking hated the third film. I thought it was dog shit, one of the worst sequels ever. So that's what you have for a frame of reference for where I'm coming from. I'm new to you guys. And because of that, there's probably going to be a good amount of controversial opinions in this video, but oh well, they're my honest thoughts. Let's get into it. And I'm actually going to start off with the negatives this time. I'm going to do a switcheroo, but starting with the negatives, the first thing I actually didn't like about this film is I thought it took a little bit of time to get into. I thought it was actually pretty slow at the beginning, but that's also to be expected, I guess, because we're familiar with the characters from the previous entry, you know, Ripley, the people from her crew. We're just meeting these people that we kind of know are going to get killed off, so you're not really too invested in getting to know them. I thought it took a little bit of time to get into, so that was one of the first gripes I had with this. The second gripe being, and actually probably the biggest of all of these, is the accents of some of these characters, much like the trailer when you saw that guy.
There's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something in the water?
I don't know, there's just something in the water.
I don't know if it was just my theater, if it was me, or what was going on, but there was about 5 times or so I really couldn't make out what a character was saying. Their accents were so thick, and there was a lot of characters in this film that had an accent, so you never really got any release from that. So that was just another one of the minor negatives. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree, but that was something that was definitely a minor issue for me. And the last of the 3 gripes, and definitely the most nitpicky of them all, and again, it's just a preference. It's not that serious of an issue. In fact, I'd be willing to bet some people who actually like this creative choice. I wasn't really a fan of using the original score and going back to kind of pay homage to the originals. You know, this film blended the old school score and some new modern sound design techniques, and I thought it stood out like a sore thumb that they bounced between the two. And I thought it was way more suspenseful and it worked better to use the new age music design. So that's just something I really didn't enjoy. I mean, some people might love it. Wasn't really a fan personally. Now getting into the positives and the things I did like in this film. Now I mentioned in the intro that I think he did for the Alien franchise what he did for the Evil Dead franchise, and I truly believe that because this film really does do everything I want in an Alien film. It's gory, it's dark, it's gritty, it's scary at times. He managed to put his fingerprint all over this film. So if you've seen his other films, you'll know kind of what you're getting when it comes to this tale. When you compare Alien Romulus to the rest of the franchise, it's a franchise that kind of bounces around. There's some scary films, there's an action film, a lot of sci-fi films, futuristic. I feel like this film is going to stick out like a sore thumb because it's by far the most scary in tone, the goriest, the most extreme in what it's going for. Won't work for everybody, but as I said, it has everything I want in an Alien movie. One of the things that definitely stood out to me about this film is how much Fede Alvarez obviously cared about the source material. He must have really loved this franchise because the attention to detail he put into this when it comes to all of the sci-fi things related to gravity, acid, the xenomorph look, which I also think is the best in the franchise, first controversial opinion. There's just so much fun being had with all of the play tools he has to work with space, with the Alien franchise. I think he makes the most out of a good bit of them, honestly. And while some people might find it a gripe when they get into the characters of this film, I do think a lot of them are forgettable. So I will agree with that sentiment. But there are 2 of them, basically the 2 main characters I think are amongst the most memorable in this franchise. I really liked Rain, the girl they have playing the final girl in this one, kind of Ripley's pseudo replacement. Hot take here, I actually think she's more badass in this film and does more to kind of combat the xenomorphs than Ripley does in any film she's in. So take that to the bank, because she's asked to do so much in this film. She's asked to carry this because she's supposed to connect with a synthetic AI. And she also has to kind of combat the xenomorphs, find a way out of so many more predicaments that are kind of jammed into this film than any of the other Alien films. I would go as far as to say there's probably more controversy in this single film than the first 2 films combined. She needs to find a way to escape this station. She needs to find a way to save her brother Andy, the synthetic AI. She needs to combat the xenomorph. She needs to combat the ending, and I won't spoil what that is, but she has to deal with that. And then she has to deal with the facehuggers, which again, may be controversial, are the best depiction in this franchise of a facehugger by far. They are terrifying in this. I really like the approach of making the facehuggers a lot more similar to spiders than just an alien creature, and having hives and swarms of these things, because you know, you think of the concept of how these things are breeding, reproducing, And it makes sense that there would be like hundreds to thousands of them, because if there was only one or two organisms, how could you potentially find hosts? But in this, it is smothering. And as somebody who hates spiders, by far the scariest, creepiest depiction of a facehugger in this franchise. Holy shit, is it terrifying. The second standout character in this that is definitely memorable to me is Andy, a synthetic AI. I've never heard of the actor who played this role, but he is a standout, and I think he's just awesome in this role. Phenomenal. The amount of range this guy had to have to play like 3 different versions of a synthetic AI robot, show emotion, show action in scenes. I don't know. I thought this guy stood out like a sore thumb. He was awesome in this film. Can't wait to see him in more stuff. But the real takeaway about Romulus to me is it really just felt like a movie that wanted to stand on its own. It was willing to take some risks, both with creative choices and the way they told this story. I thought it was incredibly smart. It also took risks in the right places, because when it started, I was kind of getting worried it was just going to be a clone of the first one in tone, everything. But what it ends up doing is taking some of the premises from the first one, building on them, putting their own spin. Again, I'll get into in just a sec how they probably won't work for a lot of people. But to me, I really appreciate the risks of this material, because I feel like, especially for seasoned fans, they'll have seen this movie like 6 or 7 times now. We're so deep in the Alien franchise. But now that he's telling it in this way and he's showing these creatures depicted in a certain way, some of the fun he's having with the facehugger, the xenomorphs, the kill scenes being so gory, so creative, using basically every element these alien creatures have to offer for forms of kills, it just makes me double down and say, again, it has everything I want out of this franchise. I wouldn't say that I ever disliked this film, but I didn't know how much I liked this film until the end, and that's going to be a pretty divisive statement, because I can see whether or not you like this film completely hinging upon the direction it chooses to go. For me, it's somebody it really worked. I like the creative risk. It won't work for everybody. But I do need to say, this kind of segues into my common complaint I have when people bitch that there's no good movies anymore. Yes, there's creative risk towards this ending in the third act and all of the ways it chooses to go. But I also think they're warranted risk. The way the story's told and some of the new elements they're introducing, I feel like it actually makes sense in the context of the story. And think about it like this, people watched a lot of these original movies, some of their classics when they were kids. They got scared by them. They claim the original Aliens, they're scary films. I feel like some of the visuals and where this film chooses to go are absolute nightmare fuel. So kids that see this film for the first time, like Fede Alvarez is trying to set out to do, I believe are going to be scarred and shit themselves. That's how scary some of the visuals will be to people who are first timers to this franchise. I also need to conclude this point about Romulus with a comparison, and I really don't like doing those that often, but I'm going to compare it to the original Alien 1979, because that's the film in the Alien franchise I feel like most people consider the start of it all, the grand entry, the scary version. Then you have the scaled up version, the fun action sci-fi and Aliens. Some people love 3, I hate it. It's all over the place based on my comments, whether you like the ones after it, Prometheus, whatever. But compared directly to Alien, when I say Romulus does everything I want in an Alien film, where it's scaled up, scarier, darker, more serious tone. If you compare Romulus side by side to Alien, a film that has an incredible legacy, I believe it's basically indisputable that Romulus is a significantly scarier film than Alien 1979 in every capacity. So much so, I believe if Romulus came out in 1979 and you're not really looking at this through rose-tinted goggles, you're new to the genre like me, it's not even close. Romulus might be considered the scariest film ever. It's that much scarier than any other Alien film. I truly believe the people would have had heart attacks in the theater if they got scared by Alien after seeing this. That's how much scarier I think it is, truly. But that's just my take overall, guys. I had a great time with Alien Romulus. I think it adds something incredibly unique to this franchise. It's scary, it's dark, it's real, it's gory, has some creative kills. If you liked Evil Dead's remake, you'll probably really like this. Same tone, he turns it up in this just like he did in that. This is probably my favorite Alien movie. It's the best Alien movie in the franchise, in my opinion. Hot take or not, this is the one I enjoyed the most. Just a preference thing. It established everything I wanted. It went for the tone I want in films. I like darker, grittier, realer films. That's what I got out of this. That's what I love about his films. I think it's worth buying on Blu-ray. So I know I said some things there that won't go down well with the purists of this franchise. So comment down below. Let me know if you agree with any of that or what your favorite film in the Alien franchise is. Or do you just plan on checking this out? Did you like Romulus? Let me know all of it. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I do it all on this channel. New releases, scary stuff, thrillers, tier lists, all of it. Join me down below. Love to have you. See you in the next video. Peace.